Welcome to Bruce Power. We know that people have many questions about nuclear reactors. How do they work? Are they safe? How does nuclear power affect the environment? What is the future of nuclear? This video will answer some of these questions. Almost everything in our lives depends upon electricity. It keeps our homes safe and comfortable. It drives our computers. It harvests our food and runs our hospitals. And the need for stable, reliable energy keeps growing as technology continues to transform every sector of our society: agriculture, healthcare, transportation, construction, entertainment, and telecommunications. We have to keep pace with the demand, and that's where nuclear power comes in. Located within the Saugeen Ojibwe Nation territory, the shared treaty and traditional territory of the Chippewas of Saugeen First Nation and Chippewas of Nawash Unceded First Nation, Bruce Power is dedicated to honoring Indigenous history and culture and is committed to moving forward in the spirit of reconciliation and respect with the Indigenous communities we work with. We are committed to strong and respectful relationships with the Saugeen Ojibwe Nation, the Métis Nation of Ontario Region 7, and historic Saugeen Métis as we deliver a third of Ontario's electricity from this region. Welcome to North America's largest nuclear generating facility.
Welcome. My name is Eric Chassard, and I am the President and CEO of Bruce Power. Nuclear energy is one of the most reliable forms of energy available. It contributes to over 50% of Ontario's electricity, and we can count on it 365 days of the year, no matter the weather. The electricity we produce from our 8 reactors generates 0 carbon emissions, which helps to keep Ontario's air clean and assist the province and country in achieving their climate change targets. We are part of the solution now and well into the future as we continue to make great progress on our 13 years refurbishment program, which will add 40 years of life to the units and allow us to operate the site until at least the year 2064. Bruce Power is a private, Canadian-owned company, which is one of the country's strongest examples of public-private partnership. We invest private dollars into maintaining, upgrading, and operating the Bruce Power site, while the assets remain publicly owned under our long-term lease agreement with the province. Bruce Power is fully responsible for operating and investing in our units, and that includes all the cost of our operations, maintenance, our multi-billion-dollar life extension project, our used fuel management, and the eventual decommissioning of the site. We are providing safe, reliable, and carbon-free energy for the future generations, guaranteeing good-paying jobs and billions in economic investment across the province every year. We are fighting cancer through our production of medical isotopes and keep Ontario's air clean. Bruce Power makes Ontario a healthier place for families and businesses to grow. Thank you for joining us today, and welcome to Bruce Power.
The Bruce Power site started with one 200-megawatt reactor. Douglas Point was Ontario's first commercial nuclear station, providing electricity to Ontario from 1967 to 1984. Ontario Hydro was then formed by the provincial government to expand the province's nuclear fleet. In 1969, construction began on 4 units at Bruce A, as well as the heavy water plant, all in service by 1979. 4 additional units were constructed at Bruce B through the 1980s. Because of the maintenance costs and a surplus of electricity in the 1990s, the Government of Ontario shut down the 4 Bruce A units between 1995 and 1998. Bruce Power was formed in 2001 and entered into an agreement with Ontario Power Generation to assume operational control of the site. We set to work returning the 4 Bruce A units to service, which was accomplished in 2012, making ours one of the world's largest operating nuclear facilities with 8 CANDU reactors. Today, Bruce Power employs more than 4,000 people and produces 30% of Ontario's power. In 2015, Bruce Power signed an agreement with the province to proceed with a multi-year reactor refurbishment program that will allow Ontario to fulfill its goal of its long-term energy plan. On January 1st, 2016, the Life Extension Program was launched, ensuring a steady supply of carbon-free energy to Ontario until the year 2064. In 2023, the Ontario government announced its support for Bruce Power to begin the long-term planning and consultation work required to explore adding up to 4,800 megawatts of nuclear capability on the Bruce Power site. The project, known as Bruce C, will undertake a multi-year impact assessment process, which involves Indigenous municipal and public engagement, environmental and socioeconomic studies, and permitting activities. This planning work is an important step to inform future electricity planning and will allow for faster implementation if a decision is made to advance a new nuclear build at Bruce Power. So, how do we do it? How do we make electricity using the power of the atom? The answer is in our CANDU reactors, which are made in Canada and used around the world. The name stands for Canada Deuterium Uranium, meaning that it was developed in Canada, that it uses heavy water or deuterium oxide as a moderator and coolant, and that the natural uranium is its fuel. Each CANDU unit consists of a reactor core that's made up of 480 fuel channels. Heavy water is used to moderate and cool down the activity. Think of a nuclear reactor as if it were a giant tea kettle that produces steam. But it goes through a number of steps first. After the uranium is mined, it is processed into a powder called yellowcake, which is refined and baked into ceramic pellets. These pellets are put into sealed metal tubes that are welded together to create a bundle about the size of a small fire log. The bundles then go into fuel channels in a vessel called a calandria, where they stay for 6 to 24 months, depending on their location in the reactor. When the calandria is loaded with fuel and heavy water, it acts a lot like that giant tea kettle. You may not know what heavy water is. It's an isotope, or a cousin of hydrogen. It is 10% heavier than regular water because it has an extra neutron in its nucleus. Heavy water occurs naturally in Lake Huron, in 1 out of every 7,000 parts. It acts as a coolant and a moderator to control what happens within the reactor. Heavy water was produced from the Bruce Power site from 1973 until 1998, when the heavy water facilities were shut down. So what is happening inside the reactor? Each uranium fuel pellet has millions of uranium nuclei. When the nucleus or the center of the atom is split, neutrons are released. These neutrons are moving at an amazing speed, 90,000 kilometers per second. The heavy water slows them down to about 2 or 3 kilometers per second. This lets them penetrate other atoms instead of going right through them, causing the atom to split and release more neutrons. These neutrons go on to penetrate other atoms, and that creates a chain reaction of millions of splits every second. This is called fission. Fission produces an enormous amount of heat, which converts water into steam. The heated heavy water in the reactor is used to heat regular water in the steam generators. This steam is sent through pipes to turbines that generate the electricity that powers your homes and businesses. A lot of people ask if nuclear power is safe. Here at Bruce Power, safety first is our #1 value. Every decision we make is with the safety of our people, our communities, our environment, and our plants at front of mind. Bruce Power is regulated by the Canadian Nuclear Safety Commission, which is responsible for inspecting and licensing nuclear plants, controlling the measures for radiation protection, emergency preparedness, environmental protection, handling of used fuel, and equipment fitness for service. We use a defense in-depth approach to make sure we're protecting our workers, the public, the environment, and the plants at all times. This means that everything we do has layers of safety systems built in, as well as readily available backup equipment and highly trained operators. 2 shutdown systems act independently to instantly control the reactors in case of an irregularity, and an emergency cooling system is always ready to inject water into the reactor to stop the fuel from overheating in the highly unlikely event of a nuclear emergency. The fuel for nuclear reactors consists of natural uranium baked into hard ceramic pellets, joined together into fuel bundles, which are about the size of a fire log. The fuel bundles spend up to 2 years in the reactor before they're removed and placed underwater in the primary and secondary fuel bays, which are Olympic-sized swimming pools located at both Bruce A and Bruce B. Water is an excellent shield for radiation and also reduces the heat that remains in the bundles. After about 10 years underwater, the fuel is cooled enough to be placed in a reinforced concrete and steel-lined cask called a dry storage container. The dry storage container is welded closed and prepared for secure, above-ground storage at Ontario Power Generation's Nuclear Sustainability Services facility, located on the Bruce site. The used fuel is meticulously tracked by OPG, with oversight from national and international bodies. This separates the nuclear industry from other energy sources like coal and natural gas, which simply release their waste in the form of carbon dioxide and other harmful byproducts into the atmosphere, negatively impacting the health of people and our planet. The Nuclear Waste Management Organization is a federally regulated nonprofit which is implementing a long-term solution for Canada's used nuclear fuel. The plan is to build a deep geological repository, a storage facility about 600 meters underground in incredibly dense rock that testing has shown has remained stable for over 400 million years. Aside from the highly engineered storage casks that will hold the used fuel and feature layers of safety functions, the impenetrable rock will also act as a natural barrier to protect people and the environment, essentially forever. Globally, deep geological repositories are the scientifically accepted long-term solution to nuclear waste, and underground facilities are in various stages of development in Finland, Sweden, France, the United Kingdom, and Switzerland. In Canada, the NWMO will only build a deep geological repository where the host communities, both municipal and Indigenous, are informed and willing to host the project. The site selection process began with more than 20 interested communities and has now been narrowed down to just 2. One of the sites is near the township of Ignace in the traditional territory of Wabigoon Lake Ojibwe Nation in northwestern Ontario, and the other is about 30 kilometers southeast of the Bruce Power site in the municipality of South Bruce, which is in the traditional territory of the Saugeen Ojibwe Nation. The NWMO has completed numerous scientific and socioeconomic studies to help build an understanding of the potential benefits and impacts the project could bring to the region, the resulting investment in jobs and the economy, as well as infrastructure, education, and recreation in the chosen community will have untold positive impacts for generations of residents. The NWMO will select a single preferred site for Canada's deep geological repository in coming months. When Bruce Power was formed in 2001, Ontario was still using coal for more than a quarter of its electricity, and smog days were unfortunately very common during the summers due to the emissions that coal-fired energy creates. Over the next decade, Bruce Power invested billions of private dollars into the 4 units at Bruce A, returning over 3,000 megawatts of clean electricity to Ontario's supply. In fact, Bruce Power provided 70% of the carbon-free energy the province needed to shut down its final coal plant, which it did in 2014. The result is much cleaner air, a big reduction in carbon dioxide emissions, and just a few smog days since the last coal plant operated in 2014. The elimination of those coal-fired emissions is about the same as taking 7 million cars off the road each year. Canada is an international trailblazer in nuclear advancement, and Bruce Power is a major contributor to Ontario's leadership on the clean energy front. Nuclear power doesn't burn fuels, like coal or natural gas, which makes it a carbon and greenhouse gas-free source of energy. Canada is committed to reaching net zero by 2050, the point where carbon emissions equal the amount removed from the atmosphere. And nuclear energy is key to achieving this goal. In fact, there is no path to net zero without it. That's why in 2022, Bruce Power introduced Bruce Power Net Zero Inc., a subsidiary company that enhances carbon reduction efforts on our site and creates offsets in our communities. Though the nuclear electricity process itself creates zero emissions, our fleet of vehicles, heavy equipment, and on-site buildings do result in some emissions. Through Bruce Power Net Zero Inc., we will become the first nuclear company in North America to be carbon neutral when we reach our goal in 2027. Everyone is affected by climate change, and we at Bruce Power consider our commitment to a healthy environment as a primary concern. We observe the highest industry standards, and we are always aiming towards improving our sustainability practices. Our environmental policy outlines the way we can minimize our footprint by reducing emissions, wastes, and impacts on the land and water. It specifies our responsibilities to the over 250 wildlife species that share our site. We take great care to enrich and preserve their habitat and to restore and conserve our resources. Bruce Power also continuously monitors our closest neighbors to ensure our operations do not negatively impact the land, water, and food we consume. Our environmental monitoring program collaborates with local farmers to test their milk and crops, and with neighboring residents to inspect their gardens for any signs of adverse impacts outside our gates. Every year, the data from our monitoring program proves that the people and environment surrounding the Bruce Power site experience no adverse effects due to our operations. In the coming decades, Ontario's need for clean energy will increase exponentially as the province looks to decarbonize its electricity grid on its way to be net zero by 2050. To help meet the increased need for carbon-free electricity, Bruce Power has been upgrading its equipment and leveraging new technologies to generate more power from its existing units. Since 2016, Bruce Power has added about 200 megawatts of output and aims to become a 7,000 megawatt site by 2030. The increased power generation from existing units is nearly equivalent to adding a 9th reactor on the Bruce Power site, decreasing the need for fossil fuels used for electricity in Ontario and cleaning the air we breathe. The nuclear industry provides clean, safe energy, and it also contributes to the advancement of human health and well-being. Bruce Power's reactors produce cancer-fighting medical isotopes, which sterilize medical equipment, keep our food safe, and treat various forms of cancer. Isotopes like cobalt-60 and lutetium-177 are used to fight cancer and sterilize medical equipment like syringes, gloves, masks, and gowns all around the world. To create cobalt-60, Bruce Power places specially designed control rods of cobalt-59 into its nuclear reactors, where they are bombarded with neutrons for up to 2 years, changing it on an atomic level to cobalt-60. This cobalt-60 releases electromagnetic radiation called gamma rays. These medical-grade isotopes then help to sterilize about 40% of the world's single-use medical devices. Our isotopes also power the Gamma Knife, a much less invasive way to treat brain tumors, and the Gamma Pod, which provides a non-invasive therapy for breast cancer. Innovation in isotope applications continues to make medical breakthroughs. In 2022, Bruce Power and industry partners Framatome and Kinectrics successfully installed the world's first isotope production system on a power reactor, producing the medical isotope lutetium-177 at an unprecedented scale. Commercial operations of the IPS provides large-scale production of lutetium-177 at a time when global demand for these isotopes is on the rise, benefiting thousands of prostate cancer patients every year. Bruce Power and the Saugeen Ojibwe Nation are collaborating to market and develop new medical isotopes, offering healing and hope to patients around the globe. Gamzukameen Akazawin, which translates to "We are teaming up on the sickness," supports the global fight against cancer and creates economic opportunities for the people of the Saugeen Ojibwe Nation. Together, we are making meaningful advances in the struggle to defeat cancer by providing cancer-fighting isotopes to the world's medical community. We continue to do research on ways we can produce more varied forms of medical isotopes, and we are committed to playing a vital role in improving life for cancer patients around the world, both today and for generations. At Bruce Power, safety is our #1 value, and maintaining a robust emergency response capability is key to ensuring the safety of our facilities and our community. Emergency response measures have been embedded into our programs, and we continuously train to counteract any potential impacts of unexpected external situations. We have a comprehensive drill plan that lets us thoroughly test any potential hazards, however unlikely they seem. All of our workers receive ongoing intensive training so they are fully equipped to know how to deal with unexpected issues. Nuclear is the most regulated industry in the world, and we know we have to hold ourselves to the highest possible standards. That's why the industry has national and international organizations that share all their operating experience in a very transparent manner, so other stations can ensure they prevent issues long before they arise. The nuclear industry lives within a culture of learning, ongoing self and peer assessments, and always striving for continuous improvement. All nuclear facilities work to get better every day to ensure the safety of their employees, plants, neighbors, and the surrounding environment. Nuclear energy provides the electricity to meet growing demands, produces cancer-fighting isotopes, and fights climate change. It also makes a powerful impact on our economy. Canada's nuclear industry invests billions every year into Ontario's and Canada's economies, creating and sustaining about 22,000 jobs annually. A thriving nuclear industry creates a strong local economy, and the counties of Bruce, Grey, and Huron are gaining international recognition as a nuclear center of excellence. Bruce Power has expanded the regional supplier network, allowing people to raise their families in this beautiful region. We have enhanced training and employment opportunities for Indigenous communities. We invest in sponsorships and grants, scholarships and training programs, and wellness and environmental initiatives. We care about our community, and we're proud of the contribution our people make to its vitality. Clean, safe, reliable nuclear energy opens the window to opportunity, as our world increasingly depends on the carbon-free energy it needs to grow, prosper, and meet net zero targets. With innovation, dedication, and diligence, Bruce Power will continue to play a major role in providing our citizens with the power that lights the path to the future.